Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning, the 12th of December. In this video we're going back to Northeast Tennessee, we haven't been there for a few days, to the case of missing then 5-year-old Summer Moon Utah Wells, who was reported missing around 6:30 p.m. on June 15th, 2021, and she was last seen outside of her home in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County, which nestles lovingly in between the towns of Kingsport and Rogersville. The case was in the doldrums for a long time. We thought it was cold, we thought it was freezing, but no, because on November 19th, so almost a month ago now, the news broke a raid on a property 9.5 miles away from Summer's home, a property in the 3500 block of Van Hill Road. And after some sleuthing, it was found out that the property is owned by Paul Hill. Paul Hill is an elderly man, got a good reputation in the community, no criminal past or anything like that, but he owned the property. A 27-acre property, the only property in the 3500 block of Van Hill Road. What was interesting about Paul Hill was that he's the uncle of Fred Hill, who lived on Ben Hill Road at the time Summer disappeared, and great-uncle of Andy Bernard, who also lived on Ben Hill Road at the time Summer disappeared. So you've got a link between the property owner of Van Hill Road and some residents of Ben Hill Road, but not the Wells. No apparent link between Paul Hill and the Wells. So why were they searching that property? We would assume for remains. What we also know is the FBI investigation into Summer Wells that led them to this property on Van Hill Road. Okay, all that said, I want to ask a simple question. Where are the feds? In the Summer Wells case, where are the feds? And you might think, given the introduction I've just given, you say, well, Michelle, they're on the ground, they're right there, they're searching for Summer Wells. Okay, hold that thought. Let's talk about it. Before we get into the video, can I just ask, if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. Trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, with only, 3 weeks to go. I don't think I can do it. I hit 99,000 subscribers a couple of days ago. So that final push, that final 1,000 subscribers, do you think I can do it? With your help, maybe, possibly. And what have you got to lose? Just click the subscribe button. That's it. That's all. It's completely free. And if you are subscribed and you want to help me out, then like my videos, hype my videos, if you see the very confusing hype button, share my videos on your own social media as wide as possible, and leave a comment. All of those things tell YouTube that people are engaging with my content and they'll push it out to more people. Okay, right, let's remind ourselves of what was said in November. The search of the property in Van Hill Road actually took place on the 13th. So the news only broke 6 days after that initial search of Van Hill Road. So we don't know what's happened. There's been no further information from the TBI, Hawkins County Sheriffs, or the FBI. Let's just remind ourselves with this brief news article of what was said then. Greenville. More than 4 years after Summer Wells was reported missing from her home in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation confirmed the case is far from cold. So it was a TBI spokesperson that released this news to the media. They've never done this before, never ever done this before, and I'm sure they've done searches, they've followed up on lots and lots of tips and leads, and they've never released anything like this to the public before. So there's something in this. There clearly is something in this. Wells, then 5 years old, was reported missing from a family's home in mid-June 2021. Dozens of searches, hundreds of tips and countless hours of searching and investigating have otherwise yielded no new details in the search for Summer. A TBI spokesperson said agents, along with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, continue to investigate what happened to Summer. On Thursday, November 13th, the TBI and detectives were at a location in the 3500 block of Van Hill Road in Greenville, following up on a lead in the case. That area is about 9.5 miles from the Wells family's home on Ben Hill Road via State Route 347. Next door's WJHL followed up with the TBI asking if the agency could provide details about the nature of the tip, if anything had been substantiated from it, and how long it had been since agents followed up on a similar sort of lead in the field. All good questions. However, the spokesperson could not release any further details but said agents continue to follow up on leads as they come in and the investigation remains active and ongoing. Law enforcement's updates on the case have primarily consisted of releasing age-progressed photos of Summer since her disappearance. There's still an active Amber Alert, as we know. WJHL has also reached out to Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson. He won't speak either. It's been 4 years too long, her father Don said from his yard earlier in the year on the 4th anniversary of Summer's disappearance. My thoughts or feelings haven't changed. I mean, it's been heartbreak, continual heartbreak for the last 4 years. Now, Don and Candice Wells refused to speak about this latest development, which is interesting in itself. And we know that Don is big mad at the recent Christmas tree event, and it's on Jenkins' channel if you want to go and watch them decorate a Christmas tree with little photos of missing people. It's a lovely idea. But Don and Candice Wells turned up to that event. Candice decorated the tree, but Don was big mad. And Don went up to one of the residents of Beech Creek who has been putting up flyers and posters and things in the area and still continues to do so, and admitting that he's been the person who has been ripping down the flyers, which is absolutely bizarre. Why has he done that? Why has he been ripping down flyers for his own missing daughter? It doesn't make sense, and you automatically jump to, well, he's guilty. Well, apparently it's more likely to be because he feels accused. So he's so angry that he's been accused so many times that he's got that mad that he's ripping down flyers. It doesn't make sense to me either, but he's big mad and refuses to speak about this current search. So let's just leave that hanging in the air. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to think about that. So let's leave that for now and concentrate on the question at hand. Where are the feds? We know the feds were involved in this latest search. We know they were there. We also know that the feds have been involved throughout the case, since the very beginning. This is the TBI Newsroom's page on Summer Wells. They do this for high-profile cases. They don't do this for every single missing person who's on their books. They do it for high-profile cases. So they've got one for Summer. They've also got one for Sebastian Rogers, who I'm going to make a comparison with shortly. This page, though, for Summer hasn't been updated since the release of the new age-progressed image in August. So they've not put anything on this page about the new search, which is strange in itself. But anyway, maybe they've just forgotten. Maybe they've been busy. But if we go down to the frequently asked questions, it tells us that the FBI have been involved from the very beginning. So if we look for any mention of FBI here, then we know that the FBI have been involved in certain aspects of this case. And again, I will remind you that it's the FBI who led them to Van Hill Road. Is the FBI involved? Yes, they've been involved since the Amber Alert was issued. Additionally, in the first weeks, the FBI Child Abduction Rapid Deployment, so the CARD team, responded to the area. FBI agents continue to assist with the investigation. So they were involved in the release of the information about the Toyota truck. It's a Toyota truck, actually, may have led them to Van Hill Road. So we know that the TBI, in agreement with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, released the vehicle description. But they were also involved in some of the technical aspects of the search. Here we are. Have you searched the phones and computers belonging to the Wells family? Yes, working alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, numerous subpoenas and search warrants have been obtained, resulting in any available digital evidence being collected and searched and documented. These include social media accounts. So where there's technical aspects to a case, the FBI assist. They've got a lot of resources. They're able to help with these cases. Same with Sebastian Rogers. Now, in the Sebastian Rogers case, they detail very clearly that the FBI are involved in similar aspects of that search. There's been some footage that needed the best of the best to try to clean up. Shadow Man, 12:17 a.m. on the 26th of February 2024, 6 hours before Sebastian was reported missing, they needed to know whether Shadow Man was Sebastian. So let's go to the frequently asked questions. What about the technology aspect? Have you collected security videos? Many neighbours and businesses have provided videos from home and business surveillance systems. The videos being collected and from the beginning of the investigation has been analysed and enhanced where possible by tech experts with the TBI, FBI and Secret Service. And we know that the FBI was also involved in the vehicle search. With help from the FBI, vehicles that were placed in the area at around the time of Sebastian's disappearance have been accounted for. All good stuff. So all similar so far. The technical aspects of Summer's case, FBI involved. Technical aspects of Sebastian's case, FBI involved. Okay, cool. Now, what differs here is that the FBI are publicising missing Sebastian Rogers, but not so Summer Wells. There's my question. Where are the feds in Summer's case? We know they're involved in the investigation. We know they've been involved on the ground. We know they've been involved in the technological aspects. But where is the information about Summer Wells on the FBI's own website? I don't get it. So this is the FBI's most wanted, their kidnapping and missing persons page. Now, it doesn't mean kidnapped missing persons. All right, let's be clear. It's kidnappings and missing persons. But what criteria do the FBI use for putting certain missing people on their page? I just want to know this. We can deduce, and I'll show you in a moment, that not every person who appears on the FBI's website is a kidnapped person. Some of them are just missing. In Sebastian's case, the FBI, back in September, offered a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the whereabouts of Sebastian Wainwright Rogers. And they released this at that time about what had been happening in the search for Sebastian Rogers. On February 26, 2024, Katie Proudfoot went to wake up. They got this wrong. He was 15 at the time. He's now 17. He's just had a birthday. To her surprise, he was nowhere to be found. Sebastian Wainwright Rogers has spent the previous day with his mother. The pair shopped at a department store, played video games at a bowling alley, and had dinner at a local restaurant before heading home for the evening. After returning to their home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, Katie and Sebastian prepared for bed, saying goodnight sometime between 9 and 10 p.m. Katie told the FBI, a little bit before 10 p.m, she heard a loud bang coming from Sebastian's room, so she yelled out to ask him if he was okay, to which he responded that he was. Detective Brandon Carter from Sumner County Sheriff's Office said she told him to go to bed because they had to be up early for school the next morning. Katie called her husband, who was out of town in southwest Tennessee for work, and the two of them spoke for nearly 2 hours before she went to sleep around midnight. The next morning was the beginning of what would become a massive search effort for Sebastian. Katie called her husband and told him she couldn't find Sebastian, that he wasn't in his room or anywhere in the house, said Carter. Katie got into a car and drove around the neighbourhood and to Sebastian's school, which was less than a mile away from the home, searching for Sebastian before returning home. During this time, her husband called the local emergency communications centre to report Sebastian missing. In the early days of the search, it seemed Sebastian vanished without a trace. In the early days of the search, it seems Sebastian vanished without a trace, which leads us to believe that the FBI have some information about Sebastian. Because in the early days of the search, it appears he vanished without a trace, but now the same can't be said. Just look at the words. Look at the words. The case was kind of a question mark. The case was kind of a question mark, said FBI Nashville Special Agent Robert Barrett. Mom wakes up and he's just gone. There's a question mark and we've got to figure out what happened. That question mark only grew bigger as the search went on. Sebastian did not take any clothes, food, money, or his cell phone, said Brandon Carter. His cell phone and cash were both lying on the dining room table where it had been the day before, when he went to bed. According to Katie, there was a small yellow flashlight that she thinks was missing, but that was the only thing that appears to be gone from the house. The first week of the search for Sebastian was a massive community and interagency effort between the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, TBI, Emergency Management Agency, Hendersonville Police, Gallatin Police, Tennessee Highway Patrol, the FBI, Metro Police, Wilson County Sheriff's Office, Sumner County EMS, Sumner County Emergency Response Team, and several other agencies throughout Tennessee. The search consisted of about 4.5-mile radius around Sebastian's home. There were roughly 2,000 searchers equipped with an app tracking their movements. The searchers could use the app to plot things on the map that they observed while they were out searching. The total area they covered within the 4.5-mile radius was equivalent to a combined 44,000 acres. In addition to ground searches, law enforcement employed every available resource at their disposal to locate Sebastian. Fire departments, mounted patrols, ATVs, search and rescue canines, drones, helicopters, and even an airplane. During day 2 of the search, the Sumner County Sheriff's Department reached out to the FBI for assistance and specific resources that could potentially help find Sebastian, who has high-functioning autism. I contacted our FBI CARD team for initial consults, and then they brought in the FBI Behavioural Analysis Unit to assist, said Barrett. The BAU shared a statistic that about 50% of autistic children were prone to wander, and that they are also naturally drawn to bodies of water, and 71% of fatal outcomes involving missing autistic children were a result of drowning. That information helped us focus search efforts in and around bodies of water. The search team drained ponds and searched waterways and lakes looking for Sebastian. In addition, law enforcement searched almost every home in the neighbourhood. Video recordings from nearby homes and a dashboard camera in Katie's car showed that Katie and Sebastian didn't leave the house after their return home from dinner, and that no other cars were seen coming or going from Katie's home during the evening and early hours of the night or day Sebastian disappeared. I'll also add to that, there's only one way in and out of the neighbourhood, and we know from the TBI information that all vehicles in the area were accounted for. So Sebastian didn't leave from his neighbourhood in a vehicle. We have followed through on every tip that has come in, said Josh Savley, Special Agent in charge for the Criminal Investigation Division at the TBI. Some of those tips we continue to examine at a deeper level, but the vast majority we have cleared as either being irrelevant or ended with no results. The lack of answers in the search for Sebastian has pushed the community to widely share the story on online platforms, but law enforcement reminds the public to be wary of misinformation from unverified sources. At night. Sebastian's disappearance has deeply affected our community, said Carter. We understand the desire for the community to want answers and for us to explain every step of this investigation, but we can't release all the case details without risking the integrity of the investigation. We ask that the community refocus on what matters most, and that's finding Sebastian. Staying united and supported will bring us closer to the answers that we're looking for. Promptly sharing tips and information with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the TBI, or the FBI is the best way to help Sebastian. So you can contact Sumner County at 615-451-3838, the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND, or tips to TBI at tbi.tn.gov. You may also contact your local FBI office, the nearest American embassy or consulate, or you can submit a tip online to tips.fbi.gov. Share his flyers: Sebastian 5'5", 110 to 115 pounds, brown hair, and eyes that look hazel or brown. He would now be 17 years old. And there's a reward of up to $50,000. So all of that said in September for Sebastian. So I'm going to go back to our question. Where are the feds in Summer's case? We know that they have been involved since day one. They've also been involved on the ground searching for Summer recently. And it's an FBI tip that led them to Van Hill Road. But where's Summer on their page? So this is the same page that Sebastian's on. So you can see Sebastian there. Where's Summer? Where's Summer? Is it just an oversight? Has nobody requested that Summer be put on? So again, what prompts the FBI to put certain missing persons cases on their page and not others? Do you know the answer? Like, actually, genuinely know the answer? Because I don't know the answer, and I want to know why. Because we know the FBI is involved. We know that the case has gone beyond Tennessee. We know that they suspect a crime because searching for Summer 9.5 miles away on a Van Hill Road property. Well, someone must have been put there by someone, so they suspect a crime. So where's Summer on this page? And why's no reward been offered? I don't get it. So you've got $50,000 for Sebastian. Rewards vary, and some people on this page don't have a reward at all. Look at this little girl here. So this is just an example. The FBI's Miami field office and the Moorgate Police Department in Florida are asking for the public's assistance in locating missing 10-year-old Gabrielle Patricia Terralonga, maybe. She was reported missing in late October of 2025 after it was discovered the girl's mother had been incarcerated in Florida. Law enforcement authorities are seeking any information about Gabrielle's current location or condition. So she's missing. There's no mention of her being kidnapped, no mention that there's foul play involved, and no reward. So why has little Gabrielle got a page, but someone else doesn't? It's an open question. It's really bugging me. I want to know the answer. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Actually, hopefully, I'll see you tonight over on my other channel, Michelle Walks, for episode 12 of Cold Case Christmas. So go and check it out if you're interested in cold cases. Every single day between December 1st up to and including December 24th. Different cold case, unsolved murder or missing person. Go and check it out. What will the case be today? 6 p.m. UK time. Here's the trailer.